Good afternoon. I first want to apologize for my casualness, but one of my suitcases is yet to arrive from New York. Good afternoon. My name is Clavon Leonard, and I am the CEO of Clavon Leonard New York, which is a fashion brand, but I'm also the CEO of Clavon Leonard Incubation. And one of the things that we do is we deal with sustainability as it relates to fashion. And so what we're doing over the past 2 years, we've been gathering designers, young designers who are coming out of fashion school, and we have been training them and teaching them about sustainability as it affects fashion. You know, when people talk about sustainability, many times we only think about planting trees or the consumption of plastic. I think one of the other speakers talked about. But we look at it in terms of economic, the society, and the environment. And so we living in a time that everybody is environmental, products need environmental friendly. And so we know that as far as fashion is concerned, it is the largest contributor of whether it be landmines, where there is consumption of clothing that has not been reused. People, end up buying more, getting rid of, buying new with a new brand coming out, a new line coming out. How do you, in that creative space, be a part of saving the planet? So this has been an interesting fact, and it's been interesting for us because it is an area where if you're a young designer or you're starting out, you can be very much challenged in terms of the fabric that you utilize that's environmental friendly. And so for designers, going to school and becoming a designer, becoming an entrepreneur, they don't really talk to you about what you need to do to sustain the earth. And so what we do and what we've been doing and what I've been having to partnership with different companies and aligning myself with small business is educating about what do we do as fashion designers. So some of the things that we've been doing, we've been looking at some of the fabric that's eco-friendly, and we look at stuff like cotton, hemp, linen, bamboo, silk, things that are recyclable. And so just going into that creative space, going into these fashion schools and talking about these issues, because it's nothing that nobody really talks about. And the other thing that we do, we've been saying, okay, you created a line, you sold most of it, but you didn't sell all of it. What do you do with the leftover product? And so we've been going in and talking to them about going and redesigning something that you did, making modification, making edits to something that you created so that it can be resold again. Because the whole premises behind this is how do we save the earth? And how do we take things that have already been utilized, that's been cycled through, and use it again? And so when we go in the fashion space, it's the space that everybody's trying to, it's an area that's been largely affected by the pandemic. I'm from New York, and it's like a ghost town. And so we have been largely affected. My store, the stores around us, we have been either closed down for months from March of last year, or we have been on modified schedules. So like my store, it only can be open 5 hours a day. So you go from a store that's been open 10 hours and you cut it in half to 5 hours, and then you put so many restrictions, many small businesses have closed down. So when you look at the fact that when you look at eco-friendly fabric, it's more expensive. And a lot of people, they don't understand, these designers, they're going out, they're young entrepreneurs, they have not been taught about the business structure of being a fashion designer. So they go to the fabric store, they find the fabric that's most economical because they're trying to use their thing to create something that's creative, but that's economical for them, and they find themselves struggling because they created a product that even though it's very beautiful or fantastic and it shows all their creative, it's not eco-friendly. And so now there are watch groups in places like New York that says, don't buy. And so even as a young entrepreneur and as a young designer, we're teaching them in this creative space that now to not be eco-friendly can cost you your business. And so these are things that we are working and trying to educate, not just the general public, but we have to educate those who use fashion as a source of financial help and assistance. So these are things that we're coming into. These are things that, like the New York has, the CFDA has also designed a program that's been going abroad to invite designers in. They've been working with wholesalers and fabric distributors who are eco-friendly to try to come in and educate, the young designers as well as those who have been in the business for several years. So for us who's in this creative space, it is imperative, since we are the largest contributor to this pollution, that the resolution of the problem begins with us. And it begins by educating. So this is what we're doing, and some of the things that are not just happening in New York, but a brand of my business is in Johannesburg, South Africa. It's an initiative that we have started in South Africa. It's an initiative that's been started in Ghana. So we are hoping that this wave of educating and making designers, a little bit more conscious of our contribution to this cycle that's been consistently, so that we begin to intervene and save the earth. And so that's what we're doing in this creative space, and we want to invite you to join us. So rather than going and buying a whole nother set of clothing, let's see how we can take the clothing you got in your closet and see how you can invite a stylist in, and we can redirect you, wear it a different way, so we don't have to go out and we don't have to buy and we don't have to pollute the earth further. Thank you.